this section. Yes. Welcome once again, everyone, to the software testing training for beginners. This section is promised to give you all you need to understand and, of course, start up a career in tech. If you're new, if you haven't been into tech before, this is your first time, and already you're into tech, but you've not explored so much of it. This is your opportunity to learn, connect, and collaborate. Just before we start, we first of all understand who CapDev is and what they are. CapDev is your trusted partner for precision in quality and empowerment in growth. We meticulously scrutinize every line of code to ensure your digital products shine with quality, security, and performance. Beyond testing, we nurture talent, partner with leading companies, and generate value, empowering businesses, individuals, and the tech industry itself to reach new heights. Choose CapDev for the assurance of success and the promise of a brighter digital future. What is our mission? Our mission is to influence and educate individuals in the field of technology and skill development, guiding them to adopt a growth-oriented mindset. In doing so, we aim to cultivate a pool of proficient professionals for future employers, ultimately enhancing the global world of technology. Our vision, our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier source for producing top-tier technology enthusiasts worldwide. This vision serves as our guiding principle, shaping our actions, methods, and purpose. Our core values are simple. They are integrity, passion, team spirit, commitment, professionalism, inclusivity, and diversity. And so we can continue. Ladies and gentlemen, my name remains Ifeanyi John Chimuze, a skilled QA engineer with a background of business admin and 4 years experience. So this is 4 years plus. You don't necessarily have to be a science student, of course, to be able to, work in a tech space. And you don't necessarily have to do something related to tech. I am basically new into tech as much as you all. And when I got introduced, this is where I am. So let's get started, guys. And of course, you can find me on LinkedIn, the same format of name. You find John Chimuze. Connect with me. I'd love to be your friend. I'd love to share knowledge with you. I'd love to connect with you. Just a DM away and I'll respond. So for those of you that just joined us, kindly mute all your mics and ensure that you're in class. Please, for the benefit of those people that may not hear me, do well to use the raise hand icon. So there's an icon called raise hand, as you can see on your screen. You can simply raise your hand if you want to ask a question, just the way I just did now. And if you raise your hand, I'll definitely pause for a moment and attend to you. You can also drop a chat. I will look through the chat, comment section, and then give you clarity and answer all questions as much as I can. So we are going to get started with software testing fundamentals training. Now, this course is supposed to enlighten us all about, software testing. Just before we start, let me share my video so everyone can see me. Please let me know if you can see me. Anyone? Can anyone see me? Just to put a face to this. Can anyone see me, please?
No, we can't see.
Okay, so this is the part you need to respond, right? Can you all see me now?
Yes, can
Yes,
see you.
so
Yes, we can see you.
All right, everyone. So yeah, this is your humble instructor, John Chimeze. Just to put a face to to our lecture today, our section. Please feel free to ask questions. Drop it in the chat. If you have anything to say, do well to raise your hand, and I'll definitely give you guys the answer. So that being said, let's continue with our course. Okay. So like I said today, we'll be learning a whole lot. If you give me your time and attention, we'll gain so much of experience today. And even if you've learned something before, we can add to what we already know. No knowledge is a waste. Okay. So this present course we are taking is called software testing. Of course, we all know what testing in common term means. Testing is to check, to verify. Imagine you're cooking Indomie, for example, and you want to confirm if the food is tasty. What do? You test it, right? So test is a common word that has been used in ancient time to test, to verify, to confirm something. Testing something has a goal. When you want to confirm if you've added too much salt, if you've added the right number of Maggi, or should I call it ingredients, you test it. Now, testing has a goal. Today, we will understand what goal software testers are meant for in the development life cycle. Software testers are people that carry out software testing in a development project. Therefore, what is software testing? On my screen, you see a little bit of definition. It says software testing is a process of authenticating a computer, system, or program. The word authenticating there simply stands for checking. When you authenticate something, you're checking. You're not sure of the outcome, but you're only performing a check. So software testing is a process of authenticating a computer system or program to choose whether it meets the specific needs and produces the anticipated results. Now, if you mark that little definition we just read, you understand there is a goal of checking that thing. We want to confirm if it has met its specific needs. There is an expectation. We have to confirm if it meets that expectation. And of course, to produce the outcome. So when we confirm it meets the expectation, there is an outcome. It's just like you taking, it's just like you trying to book a ride. When you book a ride, it's a one process. The ride arrives at your destination. The next process is for you to go down and enter your ride so you can take off or you can move on. Okay? So you don't book a ride and just wait there. The driver will not wait for you for a very long time. There's an outcome. So we carry out testing to confirm, first of all, that what we are testing is meeting expectation. Second of all, that what we are testing is performing the expected results. Let's move further with the definition, keeping those two things we just said in mind. As an outcome, you detect bugs or defects in the software product or project. What are bugs? Bugs simply means anything that makes application not function as intended. The application is programmed to function in a way, but it did not function as it was meant to function. It is a bug because it is a technical issue that has made that software not to function as intended. But what is a defect? A defect does not necessarily mean something is not functioning as intended, but it means that there has been a deviation. The requirement is stating A, but the system or product is stating B, a deviation. You see, anything that has to do with deviation of your document is a defect. But anything that has to do with your technical issue, bug issue, a technical issue or a functionality is not working as expected, it is a bug. Please confirm everyone can still hear me. You can just use your emojis, fire emojis, your thumbs up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Now we move further by continuing what the definition says. It says software testing is essential to provide an excellent product deprived of any issues or bugs. So I'm going to take this definition again so you can understand everything we've said. We said software testing is a process of authenticating a computer system or program to choose whether it meets the specific needs and produce the anticipated results. As an outcome, you detect bugs or defects in software product or project. Software testing is essential to provide an excellent product deprived of any issues or bugs. Now we have clear understanding what software testers do, right? We ensure that we are checking a computer or a system or a product. As we check them, we are checking them against the requirements or against the specifications, and we are confirming the outcome it is giving us. And as we do these two checks, we might likely run into defects or bugs. And when we find these bugs, we report them, and of course, we ensure that these bugs are fixed. Lastly, the definition says the software testing is performed is essential to provide excellent products deprived of any issues and bugs. If you followed me from the beginning of this section, of course, you understand what software testing is. Okay, now we'll move on to the next slide. What are the advantages of software testing? Without even showing you this slide, we already have a sense of idea of what the definitions are. Many of you would say to give us good quality products, to make sure that, oh, well, what we are checking does not have issues. Exactly. The whole thing you will mention in your mind is correct. But then again, let's also check what, the advantages are here. Number one of the advantages we says here to ensure software quality. Of course, as we test applications, we are ensuring that the software meets quality because we detect defects, errors, issues early enough in the early stage, which would help us improve the overall product quality. True or false? True. Ensuring quality products also is we ensure that the software meets the functional and the non-functional requirements. That means we are checking the overall system performance and we are seeing that everything is working well. Number two there says reduce risk. Of course, when we test early, we will find issues that will eventually be resolved, fixed, and those issues will be very much corrected so that our software would not be defective. And when people use it, you don't run into issues or problems. Take for instance, you are a student or an NYC student or a worker, and you earn money after your salary that was deposited in your bank. The next money, you woke up to various or numerous debit alerts. Somebody has hacked into your system and stolen all your money. First of you will be very, very pissed, annoyed, frustrated. You will cry before you even run to the bank. You must have felt the impact of whatever, that's happened. In this kind of experience, it doesn't prove that that software is secured enough. It doesn't prove that that software is free from risk because you've been affected, you've been a victim of the fraudulent activity that was carried out. In the line of world of technology, it is not just the web devs that ensure good quality products. After building, there is another department that checks, and that is why we have software testers. We are serving as a gatekeeper towards any issue or errors that may go wrong in future. If your account was hacked on and they took all your money, you didn't perform those transactions, there is a risk. You panic, and maybe eventually you may end up not using that particular bank or that application again. So one of the benefits of software testing is it ensures software quality. Because if the software is protected and quality enough, people will patronize it. But if it is not, people will run away from it. So as a software tester, you must ensure that you identify critical bugs. You must ensure that you identify issues that will eventually put that business at risk. Okay? Because people will not remember the testers. They will say, so company, they are fake, they are not reliable. They will call the name of that company. Eventually, the company will not progress because of the development team. Number 3, cost effectiveness. When we fix bugs during the development or testing phase, please guys, can you mute your mic so that we don't get distracted? Thank you. The next point there is what we call cost effectiveness. When issues are found earlier in the development or in the testing phase, we fix it easily because we are still testing it. We don't run into risk. We don't run into issues or problem because it will be fixed within that period we found it. But guess what? When issues are exposed in production, just like the scenario I gave, when customers' money are removed from their account, imagine all the customers you have, over 1,000 of them, they took 1 million naira from all of them. Who bears the cost? The company. So the company would bear the cost, and the company would have to pay all the customers, or else they go bankrupt. So imagine. So when you find issues early enough, you don't have to face higher risk, or you don't lose money. Number 4 is enhance user satisfaction. Of course, when a website is built well, with the right testing techniques and testing efforts, users will be happy. 5, improve security. When you test, you eventually find issues that may occur and you fix them. Guess what? Such issues that are probably likely to happen may never even happen. So securities wise will be checked. Support maintenance. A well-tested application or a well-tested software is easier to maintain. Facilitates smoother integration of new features with minimal risk of breaking existing functionalities. So when you test well, it is easier to add more features into it. That is because all the features you must have tested must have been well structured, and you, being the person who is giving the final approval that this system is okay, you must have seen it. And of course, spot issues where they might eventually happen. 7 says promote confidence. When an application is tested well, there is no issue. Your stakeholders will be confident of your job. Developers that are seeing their issues and you've told them, they will fix it on time and they will resolve everything. So they don't have to panic because you are already there helping them see their loopholes where they can't see them. 8, there says compliance and standard. If you are building some kind of applications, you follow some guiding rules, you follow compliance, you ensure that some things are checked, some things are in place, where you are expected to use your what is it called, two-factor authentication. You're advising them to use two-factor authentication. For instance, like a banking app now, you must enforce two-factor authentication. But for some other applications like ticketing platforms and the rest, you may not necessarily need authentication platform, two-factor authentication platform. So your experience in the field will ensure, compliance and standard. Number 9, there says enhance performance. Performance and load testing helps identify bottleneck and optimize software speed. Okay. And number 10, as we have on the screen, says encourage process development. These are all the advantages of software testing. So, ladies and gentlemen, software testing is very much important in any phase of development. Now, when you're planning to come into the world of tech, there are various things you must understand. Tech is a very, very large field, especially to some of us that have not had an opportunity to join or to work in the tech space. I remember long ago when I was still, when I wasn't in the tech space, it was hard for me to even leave my job because how will I start coding? A lot of fears, a lot of things I fear. How will I, start up this section? How am I going to do this? Where am I going to get money from? How am I going to pass interviews? A lot of things I fear. But guess what, guys? In the field of tech, all you need to do is to seek knowledge. For some of us that have opportunity to, engage with people, they have opportunity to meet people that are already into tech. And of course, the most important thing, they have opportunity to smartphones. Now, informations are everywhere. If you go on TikTok and you search on a little keyword, you get loads and loads of videos that speak to what you're searching for. So guys, take the initiative to always read, make research, okay, and ask questions. And of course, join communities that would help you, or that speaks directly to the areas you want to transition into. It's going to help you a lot. Now, in the world of technology, there are various types of departments, or should I call it, of functionalities or responsibilities. What we have on our screen is called the SDLC, which stands for Software Development Lifecycle. Now, in the SDLC, it gives us a structural approach of how application is built. Remember, our core function as software testers are to what? Test applications, ensure security, reliability, and if application speaks or meets requirements, and if application, performs exactly what it's built to perform. So we are like gate police. We are like the police that check everything before what we give, passage for them to be released. When you come into the tech field, you definitely get introduced to SDLC. The first thing on the screen, you have what we call the requirement gathering. In this phase, this is when the application is not formed, but it has started its planning process. Requirements to build the application is what is formed at this stage. Below it, you have some key stakeholders, or should I call them key performers or key actors that lead this project or lead these stacks. Below it, you have what we call the PO, the BA, and the SME. A PO is a project owner, the BA is a business analyst, and the SME is called subject matter expert. A businessman who has the money but has an idea to build an application might approach a development team and then explain to them what his idea is. After explaining to them what his idea is, the development or technical team now take the initiative to make some research and gather enough requirements that will enable this man's vision to come into what? Actualization. Therefore, the requirement gathering phase is the phase where requirements are being gathered. Useful information that speaks thoroughly to how the application will be built, how the application would perform its business or daily transaction, day-to-day business transaction will be carried out. That is exactly what is documented in this phase. If you see the key players, like I mentioned, the BO, the PA, and the SME are those people that would ensure thorough documentation of all that will be needed to ensure that this application is delivered effectively. That is the requirement gathering phase. And after they've gathered the requirement, they have understanding now of each functionality, what business or what the end users will expect. The end user's expectation part is what we call the user stories. It is very simple. Just user stories as part of those features or an additional feature that they expect users to be able to perform on the application when it goes live. Remember, the requirement gathering has a name already called a BRD, which is called Business Requirements Document, or a PRD, which is also called Product Requirement Document. This is documenting all functionalities. Requirement BRD will carry what we call the FRS document, which is Functional Requirements Document, that speaks to functionalities that would, the system would be able to perform or system would be able to do. All these documents will be in this BRD. Then when BRD is being created, it moves on to the next phase. Now you see, a certain group of technical team gather the requirements. After gathering the requirements, they send it out for authorization or approval. After approving, and of course, correction will be made in the BRD phase. If there's any technical error, sentence or anything, any errors, they correct it and they approve. Once it's been approved, it moves to what we call the design phase. In the design phase, there are some key strategic, teams that work there. Number one of them is called the technical security architect, the solution technical architect. And lastly, we have who we call the database architect. Some of you must have had an opportunity to see what we call a pseudocode. Do you have an, can you, has anyone seen a pseudocode, this thing before, diagram before? If you have, could you just use the raise hand icon? I mean, the thumbs up emoji or your reaction. Pseudocode. Okay. Pseudocode. Any other person? Pseudocode diagram. Okay, good. So, but I'm going to still show you. So in case you don't know, let me show you. I would show you. So we are all carried along to understand what this thing is. Exactly. So I'm going to share my screen quickly to show you what, a pseudocode diagram is. Please let me know when you see my screen. You can use the emojis. Can anyone see my screen? Good. Now, who has seen this diagram before? Have you seen this diagram before? That looks like a diagram that says start, login, all this diagram. It's called a flow chart or a pseudocode diagram. Now, this diagram are exactly the phases or things that will be built in the what? In the design phase, system architecture design, where there would be a flow map of how users will start their process, interact with the application till the end the application. All will be in the diagram. Also, in the design phase, there will be what we call Figma designs. Some of you might have seen it. Some of you may not have seen it. Figma design. Who knows what a Figma design is? So if I go here and I say Figma designs, okay. Now this simply means applications that this is like a graphical representation of an application, something that will be built after we finish building. This is how it will look like. But in this particular time, it is just an ordinary design. Who has seen a design like this before? Figma. Exactly how the application will look like. But they will just design all the things to be in a graphical form. But it is a design of how the application will be. Let me give you another example. Sometimes when we are walking through or walking past an uncompleted building, we see image of how the structure will look like. That is exactly what this is saying. Figma is saying. Okay. Now, guys, let's come back to our class. So all this will be built in those phases, in the design phase, to ensure that system has captured the blueprint of what is expected of the development team to build. Someone is raising up their hand. John Ekpevi, you want to say something? I'll just hold on for you a moment. You want to say something?
No, please.
Hello?
No, please. I won't say anything.
Okay, thank you so much. You could just drop your hand. You'll be raising up your hand, that's why. So now that we understand that, at this phase, there are multiple kinds of, there are multiple kinds of build designs that will be made. And once we are satisfied with these designs and they are approved by the technical heads, they move on to building. Now, guys, there are different departments that handles building. There are different departments that handle documentation. There are different departments that handle what? System designs. Now we move into building. That is where they start to build applications and they start to create various environments for us to be able to test and for this application to be visible. Remember, during the design phase, it was ordinary image we saw. Now that they've built it, we can now interact with the functionality. We can now click on the functionality. We can now input or enter data and now see if we are able to log in. If system will throw the right error message, or if system will throw the correct notification, you get messages. Now, building phase commences. And the key players in the building phase is the PO, of course, someone who understands the knowledge of application, the product owner, project owner, the service, the SM means Scrum Master. We have a dev lead, a development lead, and we have a DBA. Okay. So this DBA happens to be the development team. Okay. So all these people would act in this building stage. And once application is being delivered, built, they create various environments. I'm going to explain to you what an environment is. Some of you will think it was an environment. I will explain. But for now, just put it at the back of your mind that in the building phase, they create various environments, and then after creating, they pass it on to testing to test. Note something in your mind. Once testers are testing, if they are working in an agile environment, meaning they are delivering the sprints bit by bit, any sprint they've delivered, imagine they have 40 things to build, 40 requirements to build. If development team delivers 10 out of that 40, the testers are expected to collect what we call a release note. A release note. For instance, if out of the 10 or 100 requirements, okay, if development team delivers part of it, okay, they will deliver what we call a release note to the testers. Then what is a release note? A release note is simply a document provided to users or stakeholders that summarizes the changes made in a new version of a software product. So as soon as they are working with this development team, if they make a change, okay, or they made an upgrade or an improvement, they are going to send what we call a release note to the testers, showing to them what has been implemented. So remember what a release note is. And once testers receive the environment, they start to test in that environment. Testers will perform various types of tests. Of course, we may not have time to mention all of them. We have what we call the functional test. We have what we call the regression testing. We have what we call exploratory testing. We have what we call sanity testing. Okay. We have what we call the smoke testing. We have what we call the integration testing. Of course, we have UAT testing. And of course, we have automation and the likes of API testing. All these are going to be the various kinds of tests that will be performed in the testing phase. And once we perform this test, we identify issues. As we identify the issues, we report them, they are fixed, and then they go for deployment, meaning the application is now error-free. It moves into this stage called deployment phase. And it is managed by an implementation manager. Because while we were testing in an environment called the testing environment, and we wanted to migrate from testing environment into what we call the UAT, where we performed our test with live data. And when we are satisfied in the UAT, we then migrate from UAT into production. And that is where an expert comes in to push or migrate the code, ensuring that nothing is breaking. And this comes much later if the system or the company or the organization wants to add new feature. That's what they call maintenance. If they want to add something new in future, this may not be immediate. But all this would be performed immediately, concurrently in the development field, then this can perform much very later. Now, these are part of what we can understand in SDLC, but I'm going to give us a breakdown. What is an SDLC? Simply, it stands for Software Development Lifecycle. It is a structured and systematic process used by software developers to plan, design, build, test, and deploy high-quality software. The aim of this SDLC is to produce software that meets and exceeds customers' expectations. It is delivered on time and within budget and can be maintained and updated easily. The typical stage of SDLC include, of course, the whole stages we just mentioned. Now, we have what we call the planning phase, we have what we call the requirement gathering, we have what we call the system design, we have what we call the implementation, which is coding, testing, deployment, and maintenance. I have explained all these things. But we are going to take another turn into what software testers do within those phases. But before I continue, can everybody still hear me? Can everybody still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Wonderful. That is good. And I believe you are all catching so much knowledge from this. Please, if you are, let me see some emojis flying around. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. It encourages me to know. Thank you. Now, let's look into what software testers do exactly in that SDLC phase. Remember, the SDLC phase is exposing to us what the whole development team do, because we have checked it, I've understood what it's saying. Now let's check into what software testers do. As a software tester, what do we do? The role of software testing begins in a simple definition called the SDLC, meaning the function of software testers in the development process. Now, in the SDLC phase, it says here, it is a systematic process of planning, creating, executing, and evaluating. The whole thing we'll be doing is, first of all, we'll be planning strategies and approach to how to carry on the test. We'll be creating different test cases, test reports. We'll be executing, of course, we execute our test cases to get issues. And as we get issues, they are fixed for us to check again that, yes, they are not there anymore, which is the evaluation of effectiveness of software testing. So SDLC is an integral part of the software development lifecycle and focuses specifically on the testing aspect of the software. As a software tester, when you come into a project or into a department or into the development world as a software tester, the first thing you will be doing in a project is called the SDLC phases. Number one, you will need to understand the exact project you are about to embark on or you're about to test. Our job is simply to test and give quality. But before you test, we need to understand. And that is why the first phase of SDLC is called the requirement analysis, because we need to know what we are testing by analyzing that requirement. we've mentioned a few requirements that will be built or created in the SDLC. Who can remember what we called it? We called it a name. Who remembers? Or mute yourself and speak if you know, please. Anybody? Am I still audible, guys?
Yeah, how do you mean the SDLC, sir? Yes.
Yes, we said in the SDLC, the first thing we'll be doing is what we call the requirements analysis. However, we mentioned requirement gathering in the SDLC. There's a document that will be created. What is that document called?
BRD or the PRD.
Exactly. Wonderful, Chino. So that's good. Please do not be afraid to talk. If feel free, you can even use your chat in case you can't talk, so we can all be sure that we are following. The BRD will be created and we are to understand. The word analysis is to understand. If you check it, it says here, understand and analyze the requirement of that software. The first phase of SDLC is requirement gathering. The first phase of SDLC is requirement analysis. Our duty is to understand that requirement. And after we've gained correct understanding, remember what this part is. Our job is to what? Plan, create, execute, and what? Evaluate the effectiveness of software testing. So after we've understood the BRD, the next thing for us is to now what? Plan. Now, in this test planning phase, we've gotten full knowledge of what we want to test. But sadly, because in the development team, we don't do things in isolation. You have to ensure and give people confidence that you know what you're doing and you're doing the right thing. So we'll now come up with a document called the test plan and a test strategy. These documents will write it to explain to our stakeholders or our development team how we intend to approach testing. Do we intend to approach testing using so A, B, and C tools? Do we intend to start when some various requirements are provided to us? Do we intend to close the project when ABC applications are delivered? The plan, the approach we intend to start up this particular project is what we are documenting in this document called test plan and test strategies. And when we are done documenting, we send it out for approval. It goes through, and then we move into the next phase called test design. In test design, we will be very, very sorry, someone's mic is unmuted. Let me see. Okay. Sorry, please mute your mic. Thank you so much. In the test design, we would now document test cases. Remember, we've understood the requirements earlier by the analysis. The next step we'll do is to now create a document, which is the test plan, test strategy. And after creating this document, we'll now move into what we call creation of test cases. We will now create test cases. Test cases are just conditions we use to verify for particular functions in an application. After we create test cases, we now move into what we call environment setup. They start setting up environments for us. So we are ahead of the development because developments may still be ongoing, but we have already started creating test cases. So when the development teams are ready, when they are done, they will now give us links. The word we call environment is just simply called the link in some cases, so that we can visit the application or the URL. So set up environment, and environment can be hardware or software. Okay, it can even be network configuration. So it can be a hardware where we save our files, physical files, or what we are doing, physical record of what we are doing, or we can have an iCloud where we save all these things in the software, like in the cloud. Or it could even be something they want to install on your system so that you can work effectively. So all these are what we call test environment setup. Okay. Then when these are set and they've given us the URLs, the environments to test, we now start what we call the test execution. In this test execution phase, remember we've written test cases earlier. We start to test the application. And as we test applications, we are finding issues. If you remember from our first definition of what software testing is, the part that says, as an outcome, we detect issues or bugs. When we find issues at this phase, we then tend to report these issues. When we start reporting these issues, we also keep track of the issues. The sixth stage is called defect reporting and tracking. So anything we reported or we report, they would fix it. And when they fix, they will inform us, and then we would now retest them to confirm that they are no longer, reproducing. Then when we don't find any defect anymore, we now close that testing. And when the test is being closed, we moved into other means to confirm that everything we are testing has been fixed by performing what we call RTM, requirement traceability metrics. All this will be done within the testing phase, and your reporting. You ensure that, of course, all your communications, everything is, you've documented a quality report showing your progress, your test coverage, and everything. So then, if your organizations are part of people that automate their application, they will automate their application. This phase, automation. And of course, that is what software testers, that's what they do. Let me take that again. They will analyze that requirement. They will understand it because it is new to them. They don't know. They will understand. They will have knowledge about it. After having the knowledge, they go ahead and create documents to tell the stakeholders how they intend to approach testing. A test plan, a test strategy. They move further to document test cases. Some people have issues documenting test cases. Test cases are strategic. And we'll be looking at documentation of test cases in the nearest future. How do you write the quality test cases? Follow me and you learn how to, if you don't know how to write it. They move on. You don't do anything here because the development team will be the one to provide you information about your environment setup. But this part is what you do. Once the build is ready, once they build an application, you start to test execute. You start to execute all your tests, all your test cases, or all your tests from your test cases. Of course, you find issues from your test case. A good quality test case should expose more issues. So you find issues, you report them, and you track that they are being fixed. When you no longer find any issues anymore, you close your test. Then you can now start documenting all your reports. Then optional, if your companies are part of the companies that, of course, automate their application, you can start automating using different automation tools. If you joined us in the last section, we did automation testing 2 weeks ago. Of course, you can revisit the video. And of course, this is how the process is. If you remember, the requirement gathering phase, the system design, the build, this release notes. Remember what we call release notes, right? Then testers perform different types of tests by, first of all, analyzing the requirements. After they analyze, they go into different creation of documents, test strategy, test plan, test readiness checklist, and the likes of them. They move into test cases. They create test cases here. And they do, of course, what we call the test execution. And all those things we mentioned are what they do till they close the application. Now, remember I said we're going to talk about what an environment is. Because as soon as development teams are ready, they would create environment for us to be able to test. So what is an environment? In technology, an environment is a specific setup or configuration where software is developed, tested, or run. Where do you test your application? Of course, you need a URL to be able to test. So environment can be related to a form of URL you need to test the application, or a form of a specific setup where you can perform your test. Okay, so it could be a hardware, it could be a software, remember. So it includes the hardware, software, network settings, databases, and tools needed for the application to function properly. Now we have different types of environments. We have what we call the dev environment. This is where the development builds their code. Here it says where developers write and initiate initially test their code. This is where they build their code. They will first build it in a place where they will, ensure they are building well. This is their own environment. We have what we call the testing environment. They will create a link for testers to be able to see those things they built, and testers were not likely to test in that environment. We have different type of environment. Testers will test in the test environment. There's what we call the staging environment. There's also what we call the UAT environment. Okay. So we have what we call the production. Of course, production means it has gone live. People can see it, and so on and so forth. Remember, we mentioned what test cases are. Let's now build deeper into what these test cases are. What is a test case? Because it is part of our major strength. Your test case must be quality enough to show issues. Issues must be flying up and down from your test case. You must prove that this application is not defective, that there is no issue by exposing all the issues. So a test case is a documented set of conditions, steps, and expected results used to verify that the software application behaves as intended. Test cases are essential in ensuring that all functionalities are tested and defects are identified. Your test case must prove issues, and all issues must be fixed before it goes into production. If you followed me from the beginning, we used a scenario of somebody who monies were withdrawn out of his account. It is not a good experience. You should be able to detect that before such happens to customers. Okay. Now, when writing a test case, there are some key things you must look out for. First off, you have what we call the test case ID. Each test case has an ID. They are identifiable. They are uniquely identified. Your test cases must have what we call a title or a name, a description as well. Your test case must have a precondition. Okay, what are those things needed before you start testing? Your test case must have what we call the execution step or the test steps. Your test case as well must have what we call a test data information, the samples, the test data, dummy information you'll be needing to be able to confirm that particular thing that they built. And as you are testing it, it must show an outcome. That outcome is what we call the expected. We know what it should be. Then when we test it, was it exactly what we are expecting? If no, then we raise a ticket, issue tickets on that. If it passed, we put pass. If it failed, we use fail. And some other word status we use like not applicable or not expected. Okay. We use some priorities. This priority speaks to the technical issue. For instance, severity rather speaks to the technical issue. For instance, when you identify that the application users can log in with any information, it is a heavy technical issue. That's the severity. You raise tickets, make it critical. That's the number one of the most critical part of it. Let's say if this is the number one, you raise it on high. If it's critical, that is number one, you raise it on critical because that's a very critical issue. Priority, in the other hand, speaks about the business issue. This speaks about the urgency of how the business, this thing must fix, how this thing must be fixed based on business rules. Of course, if this thing, that issue we raised is critical, then priority should take it should be given a serious priority, a high priority. Okay, so priority will be 1, P1, if this is a critical issue. Does it make sense? And then we move further to the last one that says remark. If you have a comment you want to add, you of course put a remark or comment. These are all the contents you have in your test cases. Thank you. Now, when we find defects and we are reporting them, let's understand, or let's see part of the understanding of what defects are. A bug or defect reporting is a process of documenting and communicating an issue you found, or error, or unexpected behavior found in that application during your testing phase. Now, the goal of reporting defects is to ensure that developers are aware of the problem so that it can be fixed. You don't hide defect though. As a software tester, you find them, fix them so that it will improve software and it will not leak into production. There's a difference between bug release and a bug leakage. A bug release is saying that we've identified issues, but these issues may not harm the application. So let's release the issues with the software. Cases like you can enter phone number in a name field. So far, you can enter alphabets, right, in a name field, and you can still enter phone number. They might just release it. That's what we call bug release. They may not prioritize that fix because it does not harm the system. But a bug leakage is when the application has gone live and they identify issues in the live environment. That's a leakage, bug leakage. I hope it makes sense. So a bug or a defect report typically contains detailed information so that issues can be reproduced and understood and resolved efficiently. Now, what are the contents when you're trying to, when we are trying to like report an issue? What are the contents? Let's check from the next slide. Your bug must have what we call an ID. It must be unique. Remember that your test cases has a unique ID. So that unique ID can be reused as your bug ID. I hope it makes sense. Your test case, your bug reporting must have a title or summary. It must have a heading, a topic, a brief issue. That's the summary. It must also have what we call a description. Now you will now describe exactly what that issue is. Moving on, you will have what we call the test with steps to reproduce, meaning how do developers check this thing and find issues and find or locate these exact issues you are reporting. It must have what we call the expected results. What is expected of this, this thing you reported, this feature that is not working? What is expected? And it must have what we call the actual. What is it doing? What is it performing after you test it? Of course, we know what severity and priority is. We are testing in various environments. So are you testing in a MacBook? Are you testing in a Windows system? What browser are you using? What device are you using? All those things are very much important. So we can know how we can retrace the issue. Because if issue is reproduced in a MacBook, it may not reproduce in the Windows. Okay. Now you can also identify or provide screenshots so that they can see it. Also screen recordings or logs. Okay. And of course, the status of it, you can also provide it. So these are everything we need when we are reporting an issue. I hope everybody is following. At this phase, is everybody still following me? Are we learning something? Please, if you're learning, let me know.
Yes.
Sorry, I can't hear you, Tosin.
We are following.
Okay, wonderful, you're following. That's good. Now that we've understood all these processes, in just less than an hour or an hour stretch, we've gotten full knowledge of what software testing is. And I'm telling you, if you revisit this topic again, maybe by watching this video, you will still gain more knowledge and understand it clearly. Now, this is a sample of an issue. This is a registration page. I am very, very confident you all can spot issues. So let's see, it says, as a software tester, find and list as many as possible defects on this page as shown below. This is a registration page. If you're able to find 4 defects, you are a poor tester. If you're able to find 5 to 6 defects, you are average. If you can find 7 to 8 defects, you are good. However, if you find 9 to 10 defects, you are excellent. If you find 10 and above defects, you are best. So how many defects can you find? I'm going to give us 10 minutes to check, and just send your defects in the comment section. Just 10 minutes or 5 minutes. Let's reduce it to, what am I saying? Let's do 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Look at this image. In your comment section, drop as many as possible issues. Don't send them one by one, so people will not send message over your message. Just drop all the defects you can find in your comment section. 2 minutes to do this, guys. 2 minutes. The time starts now. Okay, guys, let's start to round up. How many defects can you find? So far, just one person has given us a response. Does this mean others did not find defects? And Abimbola, you're supposed to show us what you did, actually. Okay? Okay, but of course, we can still call you up to explain to us. 5 defects. So everybody are just average testers. Who else can find up to 7? Oh, wonderful. 7. 7. Okay. So let's start rounding up. Let's start rounding up. In 30 seconds, let's round up. How many defects can you find? How many defects can you find? Looking at the screen, there are so many defects. Tell me the defects you can find. We'll call you up so you can tell us what these defects are. Remember, the quality of a good tester is not just to be able to write test cases alone, it's to find issues. There are issues. There are issues on this page. But how many issues can you find? We're rounding up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Now let's call on the first person, Abimbola. Abimbola, can you tell us the 5 that you found? You can unmute yourself, Abimbola, if you're able to talk.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Good evening.
Okay, so how I came about 5 defects. I have choose user ID. The choose user ID should be it should be a name, not really a name, maybe like a nickname. You shouldn't have like underscore, the symbol, and the likes. So it's a defect. Then the password. Why I didn't pick the password? Because we are not supposed to see the password. So it's supposed to be in that ... That was why I didn't pick the password. For confirmed password, it's supposed to follow the password, meaning it should be in that ... But we can access it to see what the password is. That's why I'm picking on that. I don't know if it's a defect. You tell me after. Then the name. We're only supposed to have one name, but instead we have tester 1.1. We're not supposed to have it even in numbers. We're only supposed to have it in letters. And you're having and tester 1.2, so that's a defect. Then the email address is supposed to be there, but you have a blank field. Then the country is there, that one is okay. So you're supposed to have a verification number, which is shown on the left. I think is maybe 4 something, if I'm not mistaken. I know there are some numbers in, ahead of it. but I'm seeing R instead that is entered into the field. So that's how I came about my 5, which is the verification number, the email address, the name, the confirm password, and enter user ID. 5
Thank
enough.
you so
Thanks.
much. Thank you so much, Abimbola. That was brilliant of you. Innocent said the register. Register. Okay, let's go to register. Okay, your register here. Can you?
Um, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Innocent. Go on.
Yeah. So please, for me, I said I found 7. So first of all, I'll go with the spelling of the new registration. So you can see that the spelling of the new registration is wrong. The RG, I don't know whether it's G or AIS. So there are some missing words here, which is 1. Now, if you come down to where the register is, you see that where they wrote the register, there is something like a space between the R and the E, which is making it be a defect as well. Also, for the password, we have been asked password, and now we have been asked another one to enter password. So now, if it should be rather enter password, then we have this the blank space to enter the password. It shouldn't be password, and from there will be enter password. Now choose user ID. Now you are telling us to choose user ID and you are telling us to enter user ID. So it should be rather the opposite way, whereby the choose user ID shouldn't be there. So it should be enter user ID rather. So now if we come to the name, if we are talking about this whole login page, if it comes to the name, what I know and what I have learned is mostly the name and the email comes at the top before it continues with the password. So another one is the arrangement of the UI UX design also doesn't sound right. Now, if you come to email, require verification will not be progressed. Now, we haven't entered any email yet, and you are telling us require verification. So this whole email buys, it shouldn't be here. It should be at the top, the topmost. Also, if you talk about it, please enter the verification number exactly as shown. You can see we cannot see the verification number very well. All I'm seeing is 4, something like a 5, and it is cleared or something here. And we have good, and we have entered R. So that one too is also a defect. So now if you I think I've spoken more than this one, right?
Thank you so much.
Yes, please. And also the name. For the name, I know for login page, names should be just words. It shouldn't be. We don't have anything like innocent and then and it doesn't work like that. So for the name, it should be just a full name. If it is tester 1, it should be tester and 1 ONE 1. It shouldn't be tester with what is the name?
With digits.
Good. It shouldn't be a tester with digit. No, this is also a defect. Yes.
Wonderful.
All right.
But thank you so much, Innocent, for that brief analysis. And thank you, Abibola, also for your own analysis. So we have Ilori Sunday.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Well, I noticed few defects, most especially from the new registration, which is not complete, and I believe there are some incorrect words there. And for the choose user ID and enter user ID, I believe all the are supposed to be on the left hand side. Yeah, there shouldn't be anything like choose user ID. Supposed to be enter user ID. And for the password, it's supposed to be enter password and not just password. And for the confirm password, there has to be maybe a button where there will be where you can view your password and where you can close it. So I believe that's, and for the name, there should be only alphabets and not numbers. And for the email, verification required. I believe this verification required will not be complete, should not be on the UI page, because it doesn't correlate with you registering. And for the enter the verification number as is only shown in the left is not visible enough for a user that is trying to register. And also the registration, the register button. So those are the things I noticed there.
Thank you so much, Hilary. That was brilliant of you as well. Fantastic. Imo, Darake, would you want to speak up? Imo. Imo, are you there?
So I'm not in a place to speak, but I'm dropping my what I see in the chat. So I think you can make use of that.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, so pretty much like what she's dropping is almost the same with what everyone has said. Spelling of new registration, the header color highlight is not uniform. Of course, we can see. You see, this color is not different. This is not the same. So we can also, this is also a bug. It has to be uniform. If this color is different from this, can you see? It's also a bug. So enter the user ID should be a placeholder, not a field, of course. We all know what placeholders are. Placeholders are some text you see faded inside the field. Can you see? It's supposed to be inside. Sorry, can you mute yourself, Emo?
Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, placeholder text inside the field, as you can see, but rather you have two confused. So this is confusing. This is also confusing. So what do they want us to do? Do you understand? So these are part of the possible defects we can raise. And as you can see, some of us, we spotted 6. Some of us were below 8. But Imo went as far as 10. I'm sure she has a level, no? That level she has not given us. It's just, so these are people you people should emulate, Agba testers. So of course, she mentioned number 4, said enter password should be a placeholder. Of course, this enter password here, it should be a placeholder inside of this. She have here the choice of words. Okay, choice of words, choose user ID gives the impression of a drop down. Of course, when you say choose, it means something is already provided. So these words is not correct. It is even confusing more to now see by the right again, enter username. So name should not have a blank space. Name should not have a blank. So name should not have a blank space. It can only have that, but have the full. Okay, so what she's saying is in the name here, you shouldn't have spaces. It should rather be something like full name where you can enter space. So if you say name, it should even be identified. Is it first name or last name? Okay. So you should not just have where you can enter space. Then of course we can't even have numbers inside of names. So all those stuffs are also defects. Enter verification number should not be possible because it has submitted. So enter verification, where is it here? Enter verification. So yeah, enter verification number should not be possible. Enter verification number exactly as shown. So okay, yeah, so this is saying as shown, but of course we cannot see anything. So what we are not able to see, how do we enter it? So it's a defect. And of course, when we entered it, if it's an error, it should give us an error message. So there's no error message. So the verification number, if it is the same sort of caption, is not clear. Of course, this is not clear. Number 9, she said the registration button at the bottom is not having a uniform highlight color. Nobody even noticed that the verification is starting with a small letter R. Have you seen a small letter R? No, now everything should be capital R and followed by small letters. So absolutely absence of view password. Of course, if you enter a wrong password, how would you know? Because there is no icon to view. All these things are defect. In fact, going forward, anything you feel in your mind that is not right is a defect. The developer should be able to clarify you. Number 11, she says the color contrast of the page is not user friendly. See, we have yellow, we have dark blue, we have light blue. Then inside here, inside this place, partly is another color. Inside here is even another color, and this is white. So guys, all these things we mentioned are all defects. So we should be able to report these things as clear as possible. Some of us, this is our first time we are interacting with this class, and we've seen how we can spot issues. Very, very good. And for those of you that took your time to even, take up these tags and report these defects, thank you so much. Everything you've mentioned are all defects, and you all are very, very, you all did excellently well. So in CAFDEV here, we train you further, more beyond this, to be a quality assurance engineer, where you join. You have access to our materials, mentorship guide, job opportunities, and updates. For those of you that are not in the job group, please join. There are so many information lying in there. And they prepare you for, of course, future employment opportunities like interview tips, how to enter, how to, attend to interviews, how to answer questions. And we encourage you, for those of you that deep down, you really want to learn this thing, but you don't know how to, enroll for the training. And of course, you have more benefits you get. You benefit when you are enrolled. I like to put these quotes when I try to give speeches. It says, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Change, they say, is inevitable. Okay? Growth is optional. Most times we grow, a lot of us grow by size, by height, and by appearance, but we don't develop. We don't develop. Development should be our priority. There's a question, give me a moment, I'll attend to you. So it says here, there are 7 steps to success. Make a commitment to grow daily. It is a very serious approach. Value the process than events. Don't wait for inspiration. Many of us are waiting for inspiration. No, let's start an inspiration by ourselves. Be willing to sacrifice pleasure for opportunities. Dream big. Plan your priorities. Give up to go up. If you're giving up, ensure you're growing up. Here we train you to become a quality professional. This class is just for us to understand how it is and how easy it is to, of course, move into tech. It is very, very easy. Okay? It is very, very easy to move into tech. There is nothing to be scared of. All right? All we need to do is to make a decision to start up something very true and serious. I will answer your question, no, Innocent. Okay? But how do we even start up with, how do we even start the step of registering? Ladies and gentlemen, this is CAFDEV Limited. When you go to the website www.qav.com, just like you have on this screen here, qav.com, it takes you to this page. Here you can click on enroll and fill in your information with us. Don't worry, our agents will call you and have a discussion with you. So we have various types of course levels, entry, intermediate, and advanced level. You click the agreement to policy and then you submit. Then you can continue here by clicking click here to proceed. In this course, we did free automation training, which is this part. The automation training fee is 200K. However, when you click on it, and there is a place here called Get My Discount. There's a discount. So when you click it, it takes you to a page where you don't have to pay 200. You have to pay what? 150. That is in 100, that is in 1,000 naira, 150,000 naira. And this discount will only last from now till the end of December 2025. For the course we just took now, which is software fundamentals, this is it here. This is what's going to last. This present cost fee is just 150. If you don't pay this fee between now and December, it goes back to 200K. So presently this is just on 150. If you want to learn the manual testing, of course, then there is still a special discount to you. When you click here, it takes you to the payment page where you have to just pay just 100,000 naira, and then you are able to join the class. So these things, when you fill your information, for instance now, let's say you want to fill information. So when you fill your information here, let's say you enter your name and address and all, you enter your phone number, then you click pay. Okay, it's going to take you to a page where you can either pay by transfer, pay by card, whatever means you want to pay. Just that fee. It's going to charge you that fee. So you want to pay by card, you put your card details. It's just debit to your 100,000 naira. But you want to pay by bank, you choose your bank. Okay, let's say Access Bank. You put your account number. Once you put your account number, it's going to debit you that money. Okay. So these are just one of the ways you can make payments. And why are you paying? You're paying because you need the knowledge to grow. You need the knowledge to to elevate your to add more knowledge to yourself. And so there's a poll that was dropped recently, and people gave their own opinion. Let me read what that post what it says here. It says here, so this poll here that everybody attended to says, what excites you the most about building a career in software testing? We have job security, international exposure, opportunities to work abroad, remotely and abroad, career growth, learning in-demand tech skills. Many people chose opportunities to work abroad and remotely. There was someone that messaged me recently, and he says the only problem he has is whenever he's learning tech, he does not have people to collaborate with. And that is why this community is opened. In as much as you're learning, don't learn alone. Even if you want to do self-learning, please engage with people. It is very, very important. Get to know people, collaborate with them, learn from them, and ask questions. He who asks questions do not go missing. There's a law that says that. When you want to pay, choose your preferred course. Is it the software testing fundamentals or is it automation? Automation is simply using code to run your testing. Of course, when you come into class, you have everything you need. And guess what? Once you make payment, automatically system redirects you to the WhatsApp group. Class begins 2nd of February. So when you make payment of any level, you go to that group and you are there in that group getting set. And all the necessary materials and documents will be available to you so that you can start your testing practice. Okay, someone wants to ask a question. Yes, go on. Innocent, you want to ask a question?
And please, it's about a job they have been putting in the page. Some of us we are in Ghana, so sometimes yes. So please, sometimes people should try and get a job that will also benefit us. All the jobs you are seeing on the pages, Nigeria.
Okay, we will definitely do that. And Innocent, we actually came to Ghana last year. We came to Ghana to for tech tour. We had a tour in Ghana, and in last year you can check it on our page. So
okay.
we were there. We enjoyed the beautiful city of Accra now. So no problem. We'll discuss with the team to post more jobs that Ghanaians can benefit from. So guys,
sure.
yeah. So guys, thank you so much for today's lecture. Please, it has been a wonderful section. For me, I enjoyed my time, speaking, and it was a great section. Thank you so much, Innocent, Imo, Ilori, and Abimbola for answering questions. And for those that have joined us, that are not comfortable or they're not in a convenient place to talk, you all are welcome. For everybody that joined, we really appreciate that. We thank you so much. So if this is a very good section, just drop us a message in the group and how this section has impacted on you. And of course, I hope everyone is in the group, in the tech group. Okay, Imo, you're raising up your hand. You want to ask a question?
Not in the group. Can you share the link, please?
Oh, you're not in the group yet? Oh, wow. Please stay behind while I share the group with you. It is a great community where we share so much tech tips and information that would benefit all of us. So it is important everybody. Apart from Imo, any other person that is not in the group, please indicate. Any other person, just indicate if you're not in the group, or send us a message on on our social media handles will definitely add you. But let me send you the group link so you can join. And of course, share with other of your colleagues to join as well. It is a great pleasure to have you all here. We had fun today. So Imo, check your chat to confirm you can see the group link. Okay, good. And in case you what's the word? In case this section you missed it, you're just joining us, or probably network was bad at your end, not to worry. There will be a recorded section. This section was recorded, and it will be shared to everybody. So you can also recommend everybody to watch, go through it, and you can still ask questions in the group, and people will respond to you. So thank you so much. We've come to a close. I hope we are all impacted positively one way or the other. Imo, did you have access to the link now?
Oh, yes, yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay, great. If you have any question, just DM us, and of course it will give you a response. All right, let's have a great day, everyone, and have a wonderful night rest. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Mr. John. God bless you.